Thanks for listening. This is Brian Hurley from Business Performance Improvement. The podcast Lean Six Sigma Bursts are short lessons, comments, Q&A, and insights. If you have a question, send your question through the Anchor app, and we might feature you on a future episode. Or contact me at biz-pi.com. I was talking to one of the black belt candidates that I was helping work on their project. They work in a government agency that does surveys to businesses. And she was talking about looking for ways to improve the response rate on the surveys. And so she was able to access some data. And look at the different response rates based on the size of the business or the type of business it was. We were seeing a lot of variation in that process. And she also looked at the data broken out by the person trying to get the survey results back, the individual who was following up with the businesses to see if they had an influence on the response rates. And there did seem to be some variation there. And so the discussion went back to a common approach that I think often gets overlooked, and that's really to stabilize or standardize the process first, and then look to make some improvements. And so when the discussion about how do people follow up on surveys and what does the email look like, there seemed to be a lot of variation there. And so my recommendation was to come up with maybe a standard method for what is working well. So who's getting the best response rates and what are they doing, and maybe set that as the best practice or the standard work. And then build off of that. So it's not meant to be limiting, it's meant to be a starting point, a kind of capturing of the best practice. But as people experiment going forward, they will find better ways of doing it, using different language, having a certain schedule about the follow-up, trying different approaches, maybe switching from emails to phone calls and vice versa. So I was just also reviewing the book Kaizen, The Key to Japan's Competitive Success. It's written by Masaki Imai. He talks about the same approach, the Standardize-Do-Check-Act, SDCA, first to do before you start doing the PDCA, Plan-Do-Check-Act. It was a good reminder for me to think through this approach around first standardize or create a standard. And he has a diagram on one of his pages that shows kind of a lot of variability in the process. And then you apply the standardize, what he calls the maintenance mode, to level out that variation. And then through Kaizen, you do the Plan-Do-Check-Act to move your performance up to the next level. And then there's going to be a lot of variability because it's something new or different. Then again, SDCA to stabilize it till your next major Kaizen activity. And then you go up to the next level of performance. So just a good reminder that we don't want to just constantly be thinking about Plan-Do-Check-Act all the time. We have to allow for time for the process to stabilize, especially the bigger the change, the more fluctuation and disruption it's going to cause. So we need to allow for that time for people to get used to that change and make mistakes and tweak the process. And so there should be constant small improvements going on to make things more consistent, and maybe even gradual improvement from there. And then the Kaizen events will come in to really make step change improvements from there. Hope that makes sense. I'll give a link to the Kaizen book itself. I think I'll try to create a link to the image as well, so you can check that out. Hope that was helpful. Please feel free to submit questions through the Anchor app if you'd like something specific. Otherwise, I have a whole list of topics and ramblings that I'll be sharing in the next few episodes. Thanks for your time. Lean6sigmadefinition.com has a list of glossary items about popular process improvement terms, along with the history of Lean and Six Sigma methods, and key influencers like Dr. Edward Stemming, Henry Ford, Taiichi Ohno, Shigeo Shingo, and many more. You can also learn how to access affordable Lean and Six Sigma training and certification. Visit Lean6sigmadefinition.com.